Alright, today we're going to learn how to do some flames. Alright, just like before, you can do this in a raster format or in a vector format. I recommend if you're going to do multiple layers to the flames, i.e. you're going to have more than one stroke or color, you want to create it in vector so you don't have to draw the same thing twice. If you're going to do it once, and it's going to be a solid color, and then you're going to do a gradient overlay perhaps later, then you can do that on a raster layer. So let's go with create on vector for now. So do a new vector layer. Alright, so there's our new vector layer. Alright, let's say we want to draw some basic flames. So you're going to come from here, you're going to start your first node. You're going to bring it out a little ways. Or before, you have to bring this down some, a bit too much. Bring down the stroke width for now. I usually draw on a 3 or a 2, far enough so I can see what I'm doing. But alright, so turn off our fill material for now. That's how you do that right there. So you draw just a single line. Alright. Do our second node. So all flames are basically a series of curves that are spreading and bouncing off of each other. So I don't want to make the flame arc that sweeping. We're going to back it back down some. Alright. Don't expect anything spectacular, I'm just trying to teach you basics. Alright, so then you bring it down. For big curves especially, you want to try and cut them in half. Now, something to notice. If you bring it all the way back to the same point you have your node, you're going to get a more refined tip at the end. And you just move it around until you get the desired look you're after. But because you're so close to the arc, you probably actually ought to back it up some. Then you just adjust that point again. And then, alright, so your next arc is going to come across here. Alright, so there's your basic two-tip flame. There's no set rule. These are just some of the things I've learned. That doesn't mean they're going to get you the perfect flame every time, but that's the benefit of having the nodes to look at and work with, and why I particularly like this pen tool versus the one that's actually in Photoshop. I find this one to be honestly an easier pen tool to play with, especially for a new beginner. So you make your wide sweeping turn, and we've got our piece here, so I want to make sure I get my curve here. Do another curve before. Now see how close they are, how you get that offshoot tip? That's not a good thing. So you can bring it down here, and that'll go away. You can bring it up close, and it'll still give you that offshoot. But the further away you get it, you'll get the tip smaller. So sometimes you'll have to bring the node back and just start it at just tip level. And that's when you have to zoom in and play with some stuff so that you see better what you're working with. So you get the particular tip. And it's all it is playing with it. Figure out exactly what it is you're after. Now, particularly this particular flame tip combination doesn't seem to want to work for me. So we're going to bring it back down to here. And if you wanted to finish it off, you just go to a curve before, and bam. Alright, so there's your basic flame combination right there. It's nothing fancy or special. Finish it off, and then you're going to seal it. You'll see a slight little word join. That means it's now one piece, so you can select the whole thing, and it would select all the nodes. If you wanted to move the whole item at one time, scale it or contrast it as you see fit. And then you can zoom back out and see how it looks and see if you see any areas that are needing improvement, which I do. And this is why it's important to keep it in a vector form so that you can continuously manipulate it till you get it what you think is right, how the curves blend together best. Alright, so now you have your basic flames. Oops, overdid that one portion right there. Alright, now let's turn on our fill, but let's make our fill the same color as our flames. So now we have the same RGB values as our stroke. Okay, we turned it on, and there's our flame. Now let's make a duplicate of that, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, you can do this a couple ways. You can either go in here, and on this one, if you want to do properties. Alright, so we want the top layer to be just the fill material, let's say, and you turn the stroke off. Okay, well there you go. Now you just have the fill material. And for now, we're going to leave that as is, and we're going to Alright, convert it to a raster, so I'm not planning to do anything special with them this time around. Let's go back to the properties on the second one. Let's say we didn't want the next one to be, we want to make it have a red stroke. You get the exact same red as the other. Hit OK. Now you have your stroking, but let's say you want it bigger than that. And you just keep bumping it up until you get it where you want it. Now it might look like crap because I'm zoomed in 250%, but then you rasterize your layer, and there's your flames, and now there's your two-layer flames without having to draw a secondary outline. You just have it. And that concludes this tutorial.